Hello Internet, welcome back to another episode of the Experimental Cataclysm. If you don't know, this is the show where we talk about some of the new stuff that has come to Cataclysm, the experimental version of Cataclysm over the last 2 weeks, give or take a little bit. There's not a whole lot that I really want to talk about. We haven't had any sweeping like mechanics changes or anything super major that you really need to be aware of. But, that's not to say that there's not updates. I often say that there's not a lot to talk about, but that does not mean that there are not updates. There's a whole team of people that are working every single day of the week to improve Cataclysm. So I don't want anyone to take that as, oh, they didn't do anything this week, because that's just not true. There are a couple new creatures which we will talk about, and we're going to go from smallest, less significant changes to more significant changes. So first up, we have the change that allows your movement mode to affect your swim speed. So previously, no matter if you were running, crouching, or walking, you moved at the same speed through water. And now I should scale basically everything up just for you mobile users. So basically now when you have, if you're running, you will move through water more quickly. And if you're crouching, you will swim more slowly. Pretty basic change as far as things go, but it's, something that, it's pretty rare that I actually swim in Cataclysm. But when I do, I just don't do it because I don't think it's a great system. And if you have any gear on at all, you end up drowning pretty much. But I'd imagine that being able to move more quickly, even if your stamina drain shifts based on your movement speed, I imagine it's still more efficient to swim quickly through water to get to the other side and prevent drowning. Maybe. I haven't actually tested this. Again, I don't swim in the game very often, but it's a neat change and it makes sense to be in the game, so I thought I would include it. Next, we have a pair of changes from David P.W. Brown. Of course, commonly making changes to the game and things. Basically, previously in the game, no matter what the creature was, it could follow you up and down stairs, up and down ladders, things like that. And here we have a change that makes... Basically, there is a new flag that can be assigned to terrain, and that flag will prevent zombies and other things from climbing that terrain. So the example here is ladders. This change will prevent zombies from climbing ladders because ladders are now difficult Z terrain, which makes it hard for them to climb. Impossible, I assume, to climb ladders. I assume that this would also be applied to things like animals, dogs, and whatnot. Although there's no mention of that I could find here, so I don't know if animals can still follow you up and down ladders, but the flag is there, and it's just a matter of time till it would be added to animals anyway, I would think. So that's one change, and then the other change is to prevent immobile creatures from following you up and down stairs. So like if you tie down an NPC, don't tie your NPCs, they don't like that. Let's say you create... I don't know. I guess, say you have a grocery bot, right? And you tie it in place so that it can't move anymore, and you go up a ladder. This will prevent this creature from following you to a different Z level, basically. Because previously, if you tied something and you were next to it, when you traverse the stairs, it would follow you with you, as far as I understand. So this will change anything that's been immobilized from following you up and down stairs. And I assume that this would extend also to creatures that by nature can't move. I can't actually think of one off the top of my head that's stuck in place, but I'm sure that it exists and I'm just not remembering what it is. So a couple changes to how creatures follow you up and down Z levels. Next, I saw this and I just had to add it because, of course, it doesn't mean anything at all, but it's an interesting thing. So basically, there's a clown profession. I believe it was merged from the... was it More Scenarios and Starting Classes mod? It was a mod a long time ago. I think that was where the clown came from. I could be wrong about that. But here Fluff, or Fluffy, has added a clown wig and a nose for characters starting with the clown profession. And again, pretty not significant change, but at the same time, it's one of those funny things that just stuck out to me when I was looking over the PRs. Additionally, this person said... to test it, they loaded the game, spawned it in, put it on, and killed themselves because, I found that funny because I imagine that being a clown is pretty depressing, and I can see how that would drive you to suicide. Next, for all you min-maxers, so basically probably are familiar at this point, even if you're a newer player, with the new stomach content system, right? Where hunger is no longer based on the calories that you've consumed, but rather on the content of your stomach. And because of that, it's often more valuable to eat voluminous food that has low calorie count. Like, say you're hungry, but your character is overweight. Well, you don't want to eat a ton of calories. You want to eat voluminous food to fill your stomach and sate your hunger without actually piling up your calorie stores, right? And so, as part of that, they have now added the volume per serving to the eat menu. So when you're looking at the menu and you're like, I just want a snack, I just want to get my hunger tag away so I don't lose focus or whatever, you can just pick something that's pretty voluminous that will fill your stomach and take care of that. Now, I do think that this caters a little bit to the people who really hardcore min-max, because I think at the same time, once you know the hunger system, like for me, my character currently, when I am overweight and I'm hungry, sorry, I still have a little crackly voice. I was sick last week and it's still with me. If I'm hungry and I don't need calories, I just eat something that doesn't have very many calories. Like, do I really need to know the exact volume of a plastic bag of potato chips? A serving of potato chips is 0.09 liters. Do we really need that for the player? Like, I get it. It's a quality life thing that people are going to really like. But at the same time, I feel like maybe a little unnecessary and is going to further encourage people to min-max the hunger system. Like, it's one thing when the hunger system, when the stomach content system came down the pipe and got merged, there were dozens and dozens of people I saw on the forums and on Discord. Even to this day on Discord, people still will freak out about it. And it's like they really hardcore complained about it. They hated it. They didn't like it. And the reason they didn't like it, ultimately, whether they would admit it or not, is because they were trying to min-max their characters. They were trying to eat the bare minimum amount of food that they absolutely required in order to function. And it's like, okay, I suppose that's a gameplay style. I suppose that is acceptable. I don't like that personally, right? I believe you should RP to some degree in every game ever. But as much as that might be a viable play option, I don't know how I feel about catering to that group. And that's kind of what this feels like. So it's a quality of life thing. I'm sure lots of people will like it, but I'm a little hesitant to say that this is truly a good thing personally, because I think it encourages min-maxing. But that's my opinion. You know, you come here for the updates, but you also get my opinion because it's my show and I get to say whatever I want. So next we come to the two creatures that we had added. The first is the Wretched Puker. And these are, my understanding is basically like it's a pre-evolution for the acidic zombie. It upgrades into the acidic zombie. They're, let me pull up the stats. They're extremely weak. So here we have 55 hit points. Basically what that means, I think a basic zombie has exactly 100 hit points. So it's 55% of the hit points of a standard zombie. Its speed is 65, which is 65% of the movement speed of your standard zombie. The melee dice and melee, like it barely deals any damage at all. Its main thing is that it barfs acid like is it the acidic zombie that barfs? I think it is. And then corrosives and spitters spit. Yeah, it has the acid barf attack that the acidic zombies have. And there's really nothing else of note about it. It will eventually evolve into the acidic zombie. And I believe that they only spawn somewhere exclusively for dump sites. So you're probably not going to see a lot of these around. But, it's one of those things. It's always nice to have new monsters. They expand. One of the things that Cataclysm really has going for it is the variety of monsters that we have. Even stock standard zombies come in a lot of flavors. And so I always like seeing new monsters added, and I have no problem with this. This seems perfectly fine. I like it. It fits a specific location. I think we should have more themed monsters that are specific to locations. So I really like this. I'm not like... They're just okay. There's nothing special about them. There's nothing really wrong with them. They seem perfectly fine. So, yeah, Wretched Pukers. There you go. Thank you, Axima. I see this individual on Discord sometimes. So thank you for putting in the work. And I would show you them in-game, but I imagine that they don't have a sprite yet. We probably should talk a little bit about tile sets at some point. I was going to do a show where we discussed the some dead guys basically stepping away from the project for a period of time, and the fiasco with the potentially copyrighted tiles and things. However, we never got around to that, and now I saw on the forum that some dead guy is back, so presumably that stuff is going to work itself out, and we really don't need to discuss it. So they don't currently have a sprite that I saw in the Dead People tile set, but yeah, if they did, I'd show you, but you know. And then finally we have the big change, and this is a new creature called the Dissolute Devourer. And we have seen in my current Let's Play of the Magicalism series, where I'm ignoring Magicalism and just playing Cataclysm, we encountered 3 or 4 of these, and they scared me. So let's read the description. Human bodies fuse together into a colossus with heads and limbs sticking out of its bloated body. You may have trouble estimating its healthiness, and its capabilities might change. And so basically, this is a big old mess of limbs and heads that have all fused into one creature. I think we have, I'm being told we have art for this. Go ahead and throw that up on the screen. Oh God, no, that's not, no, that's something else. No, I was thinking more like the weird fused creature from the Thing remake, and also it appeared briefly in the original Thing movie. Yeah, that. You know, I was going to show you the scene where they merge together, but that's like, you know, I don't know, copyright and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's what I picture in my head. It's basically just several bodies that have been merged into one kind of like rolling, crawling mass of flesh and limbs. And so we did see these in the game in my Let's Play, and I was very confused by them. See here it says you may have trouble estimating its healthiness, and its capabilities might change. Now, when we started shooting it, I had a SIG. What are they? SIG, I don't know what the numbers are after the SIG, but I had the standard SIG, what is it, 5.52, the standard SIG that a lot of people carry these days because 5.56 ammo is so common. And we saw this, and I read it, and I got the impression that it was a brute because it's listed as Colossus, or a Hulk, and so I started shooting it, and I shot it 4 or 5 times, and its health was listed as uninjured. And that really startled me, and so I ran away. In fact, hopefully, while I've been talking, there's some footage playing of me doing this, me shooting this creature. Basically, we ran away from it, and then we came back and we found 2 more. And so we started shooting them, and they actually went from uninjured to dead in about 1 shot. So it was listed as uninjured. I pumped maybe 250 damage into it, and it was still listed as uninjured, and that was very frightening. And then when we came back, we shot them, I would say 6 or 7 times, and then it went from uninjured to nearly dead, and then it died. And so if you see these, don't freak out that it says it's uninjured, because apparently it does that. And the other thing, so it's hard for me to explain what exactly this does, because it's a little confusing to me. But I believe that this creature, when left alone, it has a special ability that allows it to fuse with other creatures nearby. So if this creature is left alone for long periods of time, it will absorb other creatures into it. It will become bigger. It will get more health. In fact, I pulled up. This might not make a lot of sense to you. Oh no, this is not. Where's the special ability? Here we go. So it will gain hit points. It will gain. So this is if I'm reading this right. It will gain hit points. It will gain melee skill. It will gain dodge skill. It will gain speed. It will gain additional damage dice. I don't know what the range and size thing affect exactly, but the point is, every time you let this thing fuse, it's getting a lot scarier. And in fact, in my Let's Play, it was fast enough to keep up with us, and that startled me because I saw basically what I thought was a Hulk, what looked like it was regenerating or had massive amounts of HP, and it was hard to run away from. And that, oh boy, was a scary mix of things. I was like mad. I was like, oh man, they added a creature that's huge and dangerous and can move so fast. So yeah, you don't want to leave these alone. You want to, if you see a disilluted devourer, you can look at it and it should display its current size. Like here it says it is large. The bigger it is, the more dangerous it will be. And if you see one, you really need to make this a priority for killing immediately. I don't know what the exact cooldown on their absorbing ability is. Oh, looks like, wow, every 30 turns it can absorb. I hope that's wrong because that's very fast. Even for, like, say this is in a horde, by the time you clear out the horde, it can fuse 3 or 4 times, depending on, depending if you have to reload or reposition and stuff like that. So that's pretty scary. I would really highly recommend that you kill these things immediately, and that it needs to be a priority. Like, this is right up there with, in my mind, this is like, kill the Necromancer, kill the Disilluted Devourer. Those are my priorities. Everything else, there's nothing else I really prioritize as highly, since, I guess we got rid of Grenadiers, but, there's nothing really that requires you to remove it immediately other than Necromancers and these creatures, because these both of those creatures become exponentially more dangerous the longer that they're alive. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Again, they don't currently have a sprite in the Dead People tile set, or at least they did not at the time of my recording. I really like this. I really like the idea of this creature. I think it's excellent. I was a little, again, trying to read some of this stuff. I have not really experimented with all these effects, so I'm not super familiar with this bit of Jason. But to me, it just reads like what it is. It gets more melee skill, more dodge skill. Why is it DODE? Okay, well, whatever. And so it gets better and better and better, and that's pretty scary. And in fact, you'll see that it shifts sizes and whatnot. So, it needs to be... Yeah, I think I've exhausted my dialogue here. It needs to be a priority. I don't know exactly what their cap for danger is, but I'm willing to bet it's beyond the scope of most basic survivors. Like, in my Let's Play, I'm on day, 70 or something. We have a gun with plenty of ammo. And I was in a pretty spacious location where I could kite and shoot them as necessary. But, yeah, I can definitely see... And I don't know what stage of evolution it is. I don't know when these will begin spawning in the game. But they definitely need to be... You need to be aware of them. And, in fact, they are evolved from decayed zombies. So I wanted to point that out as well, because... Normally we can ignore decayed zombies, they just sort of stand around, but you should maybe prioritize killing them a little bit when you see them now. So, yeah, it's certainly an interesting concept. I actually really like the idea behind it, and I really like this concept of creatures that evolve in a more tangible way. Like most of the time when zombies evolve in Cataclysm, it's something that occurs off screen, you don't really see it. You feel it, you can tell in the gameplay that things are getting harder and harder, but it's often, I don't know, this is just a lot more visible, and I kind of like that, and I like the idea that players can see this and get an easy understanding that this thing will get more dangerous the longer it exists. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show. Feel free to let me know in the comments below if I missed anything major. I don't think I did. I check the change logs, and then I also flip through GitHub, the Cataclysm GitHub, on like a daily basis, and I write down things that are important to me. But there just wasn't that much that really struck me as like earth-shattering changes. If I missed something, let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please click the like button. Consider subscribing. I put up a video. Honestly, I put up multiple videos every day, but I put up an experimental Cataclysm every 2 weeks or so. So for now, thanks for being here. And I, of course, will be back with more of this in the future. See you next time.